Hello all 11 of you, I'm Redkwan. Oh, ARMS. ARMS had a tough task from the beginning. They didn't outright say it, but let's be honest. Nintendo wanted ARMS to be the next Splatoon. A fun new take on a genre of games that Nintendo hadn't done much in before. However, ARMS doesn't really stick as well as Splatoon. Splatoon, a game on the struggling Wii U when the console was already on its way to dying, was a resounding success. It received praise on many fronts and sold remarkably well for a game that no one had ever heard of before. ARMS has not been so lucky. Sure, people also thought that the game was good, but it has sold a shocking amount less than Splatoon, right as the Switch is picking up steam. It isn't as deep or addicting as Splatoon, and while the sales numbers aren't horrible, I think that the way ARMS works makes it unlikely that it'll become the next Nintendo series like Splatoon. One reason for this is gameplay. Obviously, a game needs to be fun to play to catch on with people, but it's more than that. The fighting in ARMS is fun, and it can be very enjoyable, but there are really just three things you can do. You can punch, grab, and block. It really ends up being somewhat of a glorified version of rock, paper, scissors. That isn't to say the game can't be fun, just that without much move variety it gets old quickly. The ability to jump and dodge to the side makes it a little better, but it still doesn't feel as deep as Splatoon or other Nintendo fighting games like Super Smash Bros. I can't play ARMS for more than an hour or so at a time because it just ends up feeling like you're playing the same match over and over and over. Maybe the game gets more deep the more you play it, when people's strategies become more than jump and grab, but I can't guarantee that, and a game shouldn't put you through monotony to allow you to enjoy it, in my opinion. Even if the gameplay was deep, Nintendo lets you know that ARMS is a game for motion controls, and unless that's a capability on the next Nintendo system, I don't know if Nintendo would put out another ARMS game. Another reason is atmosphere. Splatoon not only engrossed people with the great multiplayer mode, it also had a fun single-player mission in a hub world with shops. Arguably it wasn't too much, but it was amazing at both adding variety and building a world that felt alive. The attempted single-player we get in ARMS is just more ARMS battles, with a showdown at max brass at the end, which honestly does change it up a bit. All in all though, the whole single-player is basically just stuff you can do in a quick match. ARMS doesn't give you any sort of hub world other than a menu screen, and while that isn't necessarily something it needs to have, ARMS needed to have something to make the world come to life. The world in Splatoon gave the characters much more of a culture and personality, and gave the whole game a certain feel, but ARMS doesn't really build that, and I think that gives ARMS less personality, and results in less of a real-world community too. A huge setback for a possible ARMS sequel is potential. ARMS was fine as a game, but with the simple mechanics, I don't think that there's much to build off of. Where can you go from here with this series? I mean, I have ideas, but they're all kinda stupid. ARMS Galaxy! Woohoo! I know that not all games need to change a whole lot for a sequel, but the games that applies to are usually either story-based or very deep to begin with, and ARMS is neither. Sure, Nintendo could in theory add new modes, and that might spice up the gameplay some, but let's be real, nobody loves ARMS because hoops is just so dang fun. Yes, Nintendo could add new characters, but they have been, and I know it hasn't brought me back to the game, but maybe it has for some people. I think it comes back to the world Nintendo is trying to build. We don't really get any personality from these characters, they just look different aesthetically, so I don't think that it would entice people to buy a $60 sequel just for new characters. New stages are even less important than that, seeing as they pretty much all play the same, and are just different shapes. If they really got creative with the stages, it would be cool, but I don't see Nintendo doing anything too crazy with them. By the way, Nintendo, here are some ideas. A house of mirrors, a double-decker bus, and an aquarium. That's all I got. And while I've been telling you why I don't think ARMS has been nearly as popular as Splatoon, that's kind of a reason in itself. Nintendo needs to make money, and ARMS didn't make them all that much money, selling only about 1 million copies. If Nintendo had a good incentive to make a new ARMS, of course they would, but as it stands right now, they would be better off making something else. Animal Crossing Amiibo Fest 2 would be greatly appreciated, Nintendo. Point is, I don't think Nintendo will ever make another ARMS game. Maybe a port, but they won't ever pour this amount of resources into another ARMS game because it hasn't built a community. The gameplay is simple, gets boring, and has little to build off of, and it hasn't been much of a success. While I don't think that another game will ever come out, I think if Nintendo got creative enough, it would work. My guess is that they'll put effort into other projects, but if there ever was a sequel, here are my ideas for if I got put in charge for ARMS 2 for some reason. Oh boy. For changes in gameplay, I would probably add vehicles or something that you could get in and get hit out of that would give you some advantage. And I'd probably add power-up, sort of along the lines of Super Bomberman R. I probably shouldn't have related those two out loud, but it's too late now. Power-ups would randomly drop down, and whoever got it first would get it. They could add more powerful punches, faster punches, or bigger and heavier fists. I would let these be turned off, but I still think it would add more variety and keep the game fresh. And I would have bigger plans for stages and modes. I would add super varied stages. Some I would make much bigger, maybe to accommodate a 5-on-5 mode, not a connected one like the 2v2 in the original with the ropes, but just 5 people in a large map. Last team or person alive wins. And I would also put in stages that had some crazy ideas in addition to the double-decker bus, House of Mirrors, and Aquarium. What about an old mansion, a big pirate ship, or the back of a giant bird which you could fall off of? I don't know, those are pretty bad ideas, but whatever. The biggest reason ARMS maps got so boring was because they were all so small and functioned the same way. But I think with more people in a match in my 5v5 mode, and bigger and more unique stages, it would become less boring. And for the characters, well, I honestly don't really care. Just throw in another version of Springman or something. Oh. Well, just do it again. Well, what do you think about ARMS? Is it ever going to get a sequel? Probably not, right? Right? Anyways, I'm Redkwan. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.